G'day all. With a bit of time to myself, I had a bit of a rethink about how the config of Southern Cross should actually be on the layout. I was struggling with distance and space against the backdrop. So with the luxury of a bit of time, I've reversed the config 180 degrees of the layout. So this section right here is obviously the eastern end, and that goes to the west. So come around this side, and that's the impression that you have there. Now the reason I did this is sort of twofold. One, in the other version, the main line there was right against the side of the layout, which just makes life a lot harder when you're operating or doing whatever. The other part of that is the main line is always higher, so you then end up looking down and makes the layout look a bit smaller. So this is, I think, be about a foot higher, I reckon, a little bit less than that possibly. So the other part of that is you'll see a lot of photographs are actually taken in the place about there. Okay, so you might as well use it where it's sort of photogenic. I don't expect this layout to be massively photogenic. There's no massive bridge or anything like that. It's just the bulk of the brutalism of the architecture, I guess. I know it sounds a bit strange, but that's the way I see it. It's just it's quite substantial, I guess. So the plus of all this is that the operating or the yard tracks here are accessible to you quite quickly, and there's actually a down here there's a set of lights, and the power lines go down there. So if you're shunting from that end, you would have to go through and across them, and it just wouldn't work. It would work, but there's a risk factor, I guess, with that. So the other thing is you get a shot with an L-class coming out of here or pushing back and in. It's a lot more photogenic, I think. So then, for example, here you've got the first bunker with the loader, and it would come off here, and then here I could actually add another board, so I could stretch it out to here. It doesn't make any difference, it'd just be a blank board, and I'm not quite sure if I put light up here or not, but it doesn't matter. It's just got to be here, at least one of them, to show the bulk of what it is. I think you're probably better off having this one and modelling this bunker, and I could model it full size exactly as it is if I really wanted to. So it would, people would have to sort of go past and have a look, and then it would be coming past the silos, which is a little bit better. The other part of that is if you reverse it like this, you end up with the goods shed over here, which gives you a bit of a view block. It won't be a massive view block, but there is a tree over here, quite substantial, and you could sort of put that in against there. But again, I'm not too fussed about that. There is definitely more room for the stopping place -- passenger platform, and then you can sort of get this sort of view, which is probably what you want. So when trains are coming in and going on the main line, you'd be able to see them all the way through. You could have something shunting in the yard that wouldn't be obscured. Obviously anything shunting in the yard would be shorter and smaller, sorry. So it sort of has a lot of pluses there. And then the other part of that is you end up with this sort of little curve, and you sort of get in there pretty well. Obviously there is an embankment here, so that sort of does the job, and I might not make it as sharp as it is there, so that it's not right up against the backdrop, because you really don't want that, because you'll get a shadow. And last time I checked, containers don't make shadows on the sky. So other parts, right, so if I take out this section here from there to do the two versions, say ultra modern, where I would take this section out. I could take it out from this side. So I could build a cut-in like that, like a shelf. And then I could push the older version flat board in with the two fuel tanks, all right? Then in ultramodern, slide this out and slide in the passenger platform, okay? So it makes a fair bit of sense to do that. The other part of that is, again, if you're operating the layout, you'll be able to put your fingers everywhere and here, and it won't really make a difference. These are going to be probably the two busiest tracks in the layout, shunting wise, obviously. And you can have people just standing up against here, taking shots of the crosses. It won't upset anything, and you could have a train sitting here even on the main line if you wanted to, or sitting on the cross, and the train will still pass and everything will be able to be seen, plus anything in the yard that is here. Anyway, I've rabbited it on long enough for that, but I guess one of those things, you've got to get your head into the right space to do this type of thing, and is this the best way to do it? And sometimes it is just time that takes to do that. Anyway, I've talked enough. It's time to do some work.